evening, I want us to share on the word about our faith. We're living in the days where we know that we need faith, and without faith, we know that it is impossible to serve God. And anything that we want from God, it has to have faith. You can't access anything. Like faith is like your pin code that makes you access your things, your healing, your blessings, your joy, and anything that God has promised in His Word is accessed by faith. 2 Peter chapter 1 from verses 5 up to verses 9. Would He make every effort to add to your faith? That is what NIV says. And I like the fact that he says make every effort. It means that it's not something that you are just gonna do. It's something that you need to do it with all your might. It takes your power. It takes everything. Do whatever you can. Do everything that is in your power. Make every effort. The book of Hebrews chapter 11 verses 6, the Bible says that God is the rewarder of those who diligently seek Him. We are living in days where we are lazy Christians. We don't want to work for anything, but says Peter says make every effort. So that means it takes work for you to build up your faith. It takes effort for you to build up your faith. I don't know which efforts are you going to do. Some of us will have to spend money. You're making effort. Some of us will have to wake up early hours than the normal hours that we're supposed to. You're making every effort. Some of us have to read, buy books, buy CDs, do everything that you can. Some of us have to switch off TV to make every effort. Some of us has to cut certain friends to make every effort, just trying to build up on your faith, because faith is such an important and a very critical aspect of Christian life, because the Bible says without faith it's impossible to serve God. And when you read over, the Bible says when He comes, will the Son of Man find faith? Because faith is everything in the Christian believer. So 2 Peter chapter 1 verses 5 would make every effort to add on to your faith. It does not say add on anything else. It does not say add on miracles. He does not say add on blessings. He says add on to your faith. He first says what you add into your faith, would He add onto your faith add goodness. He makes faith a foundation. He says add goodness. We've lost that element of goodness. Just be good to people. Pass by and just be good in what you do. Be good in your singing. Be good in everything that you do. Be excellent. Show the element of excellency. Just take an extra effort in what you do. Add goodness into your faith and build on it. Build on to your faith goodness. Let people know you because of your good deeds. And then it continues to say from your faith you add knowledge. Knowledge is very, 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 very important. Knowledge is, you cannot survive tomorrow on today's knowledge. And there is a saying that says, you never grow old to know. So every day as we grow, we need knowledge that is equivalent to our experiences, knowledge for the new challenges that we're gonna. So knowledge in itself is a very progressive a concept. You can't know this one thing and live with it for 10 years to come. A long time ago, we were using phones at home, but now we're using cell phones. It's knowledge. It's progressive in itself. So it says in your faith, add knowledge. Be progressive. Know something that you have never known before. Know something that you didn't know, like 10 years when you got born again, or 2 years, or even 2 days when you got born again. Add knowledge. So seek knowledge. Read knowledge. Knowledge, it makes you, by knowledge, if somebody fills up his house. You fill your house with knowledge. It is those who know their God. The book of Daniel says, those who know their God shall be strong and they shall do exploits. So you need to know, you need to constantly add something into your mind. You need to constantly open yourself to learning so that you can know God more than you have known him before, you deeper than you have known him before. And it says from there, from knowledge, you need to add self-control. This one is very important. I've seen people in life, when they begin to know a lot, they become big-headed. Once you know it, knowledge gives you power. Then you get to be powerful. You can look down on people, you can abuse people, you can oppress people because you know something that they don't know. But when you have self-control, because it says into your faith you add your goodness, you add knowledge. Now when you know, to avoid using it in a wrong way or being big-headed, it says add self-control. Self-control is the fruit of the Spirit. All these things are not just positive talk. They are a spiritual aspect, because self-control, you go to Galatians chapter 5 verse 22, it's there in the fruit of the Spirit. Self-control is the fruit of the Spirit. You will control yourself from controlling other people because of your knowledge, looking down on other people because of, you will be patient. When you are having some, you will be able to control this. It will be of your advantage and of the other people advantage. People will benefit now that you know, because you are self-controlled. After that, you add perseverance. Perseverance, it's something else again that is not really an attractive thing. It says you need to persevere. Then when you know and you are self-controlled, you can be patient. You can be patient with crazy people that walk along your way. You can be patient with people. You will be slow to anger. You can wait on God to do what he wants to do in his own time, in his own way. Now that you know that God can, but you need to wait for God to do it in his time, in his way, in whichever way he chooses. So it helps you when you have faith, that you're not gonna rush God, you're not gonna control God, you're not gonna twist God's arm to do things your way. You're gonna be perseverance, you're gonna be patient with God, you're gonna be patient with yourself. Because sometimes when you know a lot and you miss things, you become impatient of yourself. But when you have perseverance, when you have added perseverance onto your faith, you are able to be patient and be fair enough to yourself. After you've added perseverance, it says add onto your faith godliness. We're living in times where people of faith are not godly anymore. They live anyhow, they say anything, they treat people anyhow. We're not like God anymore. The Bible says when Peter were going all around and Jesus was about to be crucified, it was an element of godliness that made those servants to say, you've been with Jesus. When Peter started to swear, that girl said, you can't say that, because you've been with Jesus. There's an element of godliness that will not allow you to speak anyhow, to do anyhow, to walk anyhow, to even dress anyhow. So we need to add into our faith. That's why people will be saying, he's a person of faith or she's a person of faith, but look at how she treats people. But look at how she's treating people, because we have not added onto our faith. We are people of faith, but we have not added unto our faith. So when we build onto our faith, we need to build these things, they need to be added. The book of Jude, and it's very important to build onto our faith, because we will hear what verses 8 says, that when we don't build onto our faith, what will happen to us? And again, when we don't build into our faith, even Jude 1 verse 20 encourages us to say, build up yourself into your most holy faith. Our faith is very, very, very critical. It says we must build yourselves into your most holy faith. It's not a common thing. It's not just one of those things that we have because we go to church, because we are saved. It's critical that we need to guard it. It can get lost. When they were in the sea and the water was coming, Jesus woke up and he did not say, do you remember anything? He says, where is your faith? Where is your faith? And when you have not built it, and when you have not made a big, nice, strong structure that is able to stand against the winds for your faith, it can get lost when situations are coming. So we need to build onto our faith, as Jude 1:20 says. We need to build onto it. Even Peter himself, he says, add onto your faith. And when you don't have these things, verses 8, it says, if you do not have these things in increasing measure. I love it. It does not say if you don't have these things, you will be it in increasing measure. So these things are meant, this is a continuous thing. You cannot have it once and you're done. You continuously have to add on, put on more of goodness, more of knowledge, more of perseverance, more of self-control, more of godliness, more of everything. The last thing that you need to build onto your faith is love. I love the order, because first faith is your foundation. Love is sort of the last thing that Peter says, that once you have godliness, then you will need to put love. He puts it as a roof. Love is important. And in the book of Romans, it says 3 things, everything else will pass away, but 3 things shall remain: love, hope, and faith. So these things, our miracles and everything, when we get there, love will still stand there, faith will still stand there, hope will still stand there. So that is why you need to work on your faith. And as I've said before, when the Son of Man, when he comes, the Bible says, will he find faith? You need to ask yourself, God, when you come tomorrow, will you find me in faith? Will I still believe what I believe about you now when you come tomorrow? If you decide to rapture us tomorrow, will I be in faith? And so love is everything. He says, when he finishes to put on these building blocks, he says, add love. Love, we know that it covers the multitude of sins. We know that he died because of love. We know that he says, 1 Corinthians 13 says, without love, we are like a clinging gong. We're making noise. Everything that we do, it is not effective enough without love. It is actually nothing. If we can read all the 1 Corinthians 13 chapter, it says love is forgiving, love does not keep the record of wrongs. It add love, you will just erase all the wrong things that the saints have done into you. When we go to verse 8, as we are closing, it says, if you have these things in increasing measure, you will not be ineffective. So I've just explained a little bit. You need to have it in increasing measure, not just have it. And because these things there are a lot of cares of life. There are things that can choke these things. There are things that can remove these things. People can be so mean to you that you don't want to be good to them anymore. So you need to constantly be good. You must have it in increasing measure. So verse 8 says, if you have these things in an increasing measure, you will not be ineffective and unproductive. Ineffective, There are people that can get into the room and you will not even feel that they are there. There are people that they will get into the room, you will feel that someone is in this house. So and so has come. They just, their presence, it affects everything. If we go to the book of Ruth, the Bible says Naomi came back from the land where he has lost his husband and lost his sons. When she came back into Bethlehem, the Bible says she moved the whole city. She was bitter, she was everything. She had nothing, but she moved the whole city. She was so effective that even at her loss, she moved the city. So the Bible says when we have these things, when we have added these things, and in full measure, we are going to be effective. We're going to have an impact. We're going to move and people are going to know that he's there. You're going to move and the devil is going to wish that you could sleep more. The devil is going to wish that you could be more frustrated, more depressed, more. You need to wake up from depression and understand and be effective, unproductive. If you have them in full measure, you will not be ineffective and also you will not be unproductive. Unproductive, it talks about fruits. There was a tree. That tree was effective because it was there. It was known that it was there, but it was unproductive because when Jesus came to it, he did not find a fruit and he cursed it. And he says, every tree that does not bear fruit, he cuts it, he prunes it. So we need to be productive. We were born again to give birth to others. We need to be productive. If we don't have these things, if we have not added so much into our faith, we will be ineffective. We will be unproductive. But if we continue to have these things, the Bible continues to say in verses 9 as we close, when we have them in full measure, we will not be short-sighted. We will not be blind. It's this verse, this chapter is so packed because I really need to stop. But if we think about somebody who's short-sighted, it's somebody who sees but they don't see clearly. There's a time when most of the ministry of Jesus Christ, when he came, he healed, he opened a lot of the blind people, blind eyes. There's a time that when he opened the eyes of the one, he said he put mud on his eyes and he began to ask him, what do you see? Because even though the guy saw, but he was short-sighted, and Jesus did not want him to be short-sighted. He said, go and wash in the pool of Siloam. He said, no, I'm only seeing trees. And he wanted him to see clear. God does not want us to be short-sighted. When you're short-sighted, you will make decisions based on what you see just here, not there. When you don't have these things, you will be blind. When you're blind, you can be led anywhere by whoever. But when you can see, they cried and says, Jesus, son of David, I want to see. And if you want to see, you need to add into your faith. Faith is able to make you see. It's the eyes of the Spirit, it's the hands of the Spirit. And if you want to see your things in the Spirit, you got to add these things. You got to add from your faith. You must add goodness. You must add knowledge. You must add self-control. You must add perseverance. You must add goodness. You must add love. Then you'll be effective. Then you will be productive. You will not be short-sighted and you will not be blind. I hope this makes a difference into your life, that everyone else must work on their faith. Everyone else must work, make every effort. Do everything that's in your power to work on your faith. Work on your faith with tremblings and with fear. And as we close now, and I just want to say, if you have liked this video and you were blessed with its message, please subscribed to our channel for any alerts, for all alerts when the content is loaded, or make a comment below, because we would love to hear from you. Be blessed.